Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Kechidori.
And as always, I love bringing you some of the experts that are actually making a real difference in business owners' lives. And today on the show, I'm joined by the public speaking expert, Brenden. Brenden has been helping business owners for a few years now to harness their message so that they portray their products and services in the best way possible. Brenden, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Yeukai. It's such a pleasure.
Incredible. Brenden, for those who've yet to come to your work, would you talk to us about yourself so that they get to know a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the founder of MasterTalk. I make YouTube videos on public speaking. And how the idea came to be was when I was in university, I wanted to become a consultant at IBM or McKinsey, so I worked really hard and I did these things called case competitions. So what that is essentially is think of it like professional sports, like playing on a footy team, but for nerds. So instead of spending 3-4 times a week practicing with the sports coach to get my kicks better, to run faster, I did the exact same thing in presentations. So in those 3 years that I was in university, I probably presented hundreds of times, and I've coached probably 100 people as well. So when I graduated from university, I transitioned from how do I use the money that I have to make an impact in the world to how do I use my time and expertise. That's when the idea for the show came on, because I realized a lot of the information on YouTube relating to public speaking wasn't that good.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And you've been doing the show for a few months now. How is this going?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think it's like many of the people on this call who have a new business idea at the beginning. You're not really sure how it works. You're kind of figuring out, should I have an office? Should I not have an office? And it was the same thing with me when I started the show. It was mostly making videos in my basement with my phone. Didn't really know what I was doing. But then over time, as I got better on video, as I got better communicating my ideas forward, as I got better with YouTube in general, then it started to become a lot more professional at what it is today. So it's always a step-by-step process.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. What would you say to maybe somebody who is looking to get started with a show of their own, that they can, so that they have success? What could they do?
Of course. I think the number one step and the only step that really matters at the end of the day, Yeukai, is to have a clear intention on why you want to start the show. If all you want to do is to try and get famous or try and get customers, and there's not really a clear reason why this content should matter to people, then I don't think you should start a show, because you'll give up really quickly. So if you take your show, for example, you had a very clear intention. You said, I want to help the UK business community gain access to experts that they never would have access to otherwise. And that's why you've been able to stay consistent with your shows for many years now. So congratulations on that success. But I think that's a testament to what people should be doing, is focus on the long-term play. If you're not willing to do this for 5 years, you shouldn't do it at all.
Absolutely the truth. I remember when I was getting started, Brenden, back then, very few people were doing it, and now a lot of people are running their own shows, and some of them are short-lived and then off they go. But people like you and I tend to stick with it for a long time. Now, we just want to jump into your expertise, because today we want to talk about the new idea, what you see is happening in the industry when it comes to public speaking, especially for the business owners who are listening to this. What would you say is the new idea right now, when it comes to public speaking?
Right. So let's start by explaining kind of the base case. How are most speaking coaches approaching public speaking, and how do I differ from most of them? So most of the people who teach public speaking, Yeukai, are usually people who are very academic or very seasoned as speakers. So they're either people who have keynoted for many years, or have studied a lot on communication, whether they have a PhD, a master's degree, and they spend a lot of time kind of figuring out, okay, I want to teach communication to people. But here's the issue with that approach. It's not customer centric. So let's say an academic would come up to give a workshop. He or she would probably start the workshop by saying statistics or facts or tips that aren't necessarily aligned to get people excited about communication.
Yeah.
Like, oh, did you know that public speaking is the greatest fear after death? But if you kind of think about that, that is true. But at the same time, that's not the way to motivate people who are already scared of public speaking to adopt our ideas, to adopt our message, and to share their ideas with the world. So the approach that I like to take is I like to use analogies. I like to make it fun. I like to make it inspiring, hopeful, and I don't bring a lot of the nuances that are negative about public speaking. So I don't compare it to death like most people.
Yeah.
I don't use medical terms like glossophobia, which is the medical term for fear of public speaking. I avoid all of those technical jargons, and I focus on what actually matters, which is tangible tips to help people make a difference.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There's a question I often get asked by my listeners to bring to the guests like yourself, that on your journey to become an expert like you are, did you get to meet some roadblocks along the way?
Right, and I think with any skill that you want to master, whether it's growing a business or getting started in public speaking, or even or learning a new skill, there's always going to be challenges around the way that kind of block you from achieving that. And for me, it was the fact that when I grew up in Montreal is one of the few cities where you need to speak multiple languages to be successful in, because the city operates in English and French, so you need to know how to do business in French. So I got put into a French school, but the issue was I didn't speak any French. So for the first 15 years of my life, not only was I uncomfortable with communication and presentations, I had to present in a language I didn't even know. So it was quite the challenge. Yes. So when I went on to get better at communication, I obviously struggled a lot at the beginning. But the thing that really got me past those roadblocks was asking myself the following question. That's very simple, but has a lot of meaning, which is, why do you want to master public speaking? Right. What is the reason, the fundamental reason why you want to get better? So if I use you as an example here, your public speaking why, Yeukai, is very high because you need to be a great communicator if you want to be a good podcast host, or no one would understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that same way, everyone needs to develop that public speaking why, and they can overcome any roadblock that they have.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I can only imagine being in a place where you have to present in a completely different language that you understand. The fear that comes with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk a little bit about how can people effectively present? In this case, business owners. We've got great products, great services. What's the new thing around this topic that you would be happy to share with our customers?
Of course, happy to do that. I would say the number one mistake people make is they don't really know how to practice public speaking. Right. So let's build on that. Let's say that we want to learn a new skill, whether that's learning how to bake a cake, learning how to play a new sport, playing a new instrument. If we look at all of these skills, even if they're very different in nature, Yeukai, they all share a common element, which is repeat the fundamentals until they're perfect. If you're playing footy with your friends, you're practicing on kicking the ball faster, running, passing. If you're playing a new instrument, you're focused on getting that one song right, so that when you get that song right and you can play it properly, it gives you the confidence to play any song. But we do not apply that logic in public speaking. It's Wednesday. your boss, or in your case, you are the boss. So a client comes up to you and says, "Oh, Yeukai, I have a presentation for you on Friday. Can you come in 2 days?" But you obviously don't have a presentation. So you spend the next 2 days, nights, evenings, getting that presentation together for your client. You present it. And then what do you do with the presentation? You throw it in the garbage and you move on to the next presentation. That is the fundamental issue that we're facing. If you want to master public speaking, the secret is that the best speakers in the world practice the same talk, the same presentation hundreds of times.
Right. Well, that means if you are presenting for your audience is, your products, you just have to master that one sales pitch, so to speak, or your presentation that you would have prepared. Am I right?
You're absolutely correct. And I think that's what's been interesting with entrepreneurs and company owners, in the sense of, at the end of the day, your business is you're going to change some segments. Maybe you'll add a new service or product. But at the end of the day, the mission statement, the purpose, the values of the company, what you're trying to sell as a core product will always remain the same, regardless of the customer you're pitching to. Because if you're a public speaking business like me, it's still the same thing at the end of the day. If you're a consulting practice, it's the same thing at the end of the day. You're solving problems for somebody else, and you're helping them achieve a certain outcome. So what I recommend is to be industry agnostic. So that means practice as if you're speaking to any industry, and make sure that pitch is absolutely perfect. And then when it's perfect, then you can tailor it a bit based on the industry you're speaking to.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. This is so true. Even in my own life, just to think about that, the areas that I'm really good at, I've had to do them over and over and over and over again. Even in the days that I did not feel like doing it, I just had to go and do it. It does something to the way you think, even in your positioning, even in your confidence in doing that, right?
Absolutely. Like, just to give an idea for the audience, is I've presented probably 800 times now in my career. And I think that's to say not that I'm better or more special or more important. I've just done a lot more drills. But almost half of all of those 800 times was the same presentation.
Right.
That's how you become exceptional. You do it so many times that it hurts, but you get so good with that presentation that you'll get the conversions you want for your business. You'll get the ideas that you want to share, and you'll be able to make that impact that you want to make in the world.
Let's talk about, what stops people from doing that. Some business owners might say, you know what, I know I should be doing that, but I just don't do it. What really stops people from harnessing that?
I think for me, my personal opinion is either a lack of prioritization,
right,
and a lack of incentive, which ends up being the same thing. So let's say, for instance, you're a business owner and you go, I don't want to work on my public speaking. I have so many clients to deal with. I have so many things to do.
Mm-hmm.
My question to that business owner is, how big do you want the business to be? And if they say, well, I want a 10x next year, I would ask them, what do you think is the best way to do that? They would say, well, I don't know, maybe referrals. I would say no. If you speak to 1,000 people at a conference, that is the easiest way to generate sales for your company.
That's right.
Because you go up there, you explain the vision, you explain what you're trying to achieve, and then 10% of the audience goes, I want to hire Yeukai. He's the guy for me. He's the person that I want to trust my money, my resources, and my time with. So if you're someone who thinks that public speaking isn't important, what you need to do is tie it in with an incentive. How would the world change if you were an amazing communicator? What benefits would you get personally from being an exceptional speaker? And for me, the incentive is obvious. Why would you listen to a speech coach who doesn't know how to articulate his words properly? It would make no sense, right? Mm-hmm. So I need to be a great speaker. In the same way, that if you're a business owner that sells consulting services or really any type of service, you need to understand that being a great speaker allows you to sell more, make a bigger impact, and reach more lives.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And for those who have this clarity but still finding it difficult to actually take action, what is your advice other than know your why? What can they do now to get moving?
Of course, and I love that. So if most of the people are now clear, the next thing I would do is I would create a community of accountability.
Right.
So what you want to do, and this is what I do with my friends, is I have 4 or 5 people who look at every single one of my pitches. In the same way, I like to compare public speaking to a puzzle, right? If you're working on a 1,000-piece puzzle, you don't want to do that alone. It's daunting, it's annoying, it's not fun. But if you're working with a group of 3 to 4 people and they're always giving you feedback, they say, "Yeukai, I don't like this slide. You got to change it for this one." That's one way that you're able to boost up the way that you're speaking much faster. And I'll give you a pro tip. What I do is I actually record my keynotes and I send it to 25 people.
Wow.
So that way, 25 people give me feedback at any given time. So I can compile all that feedback. So when I send them a version 2 of the same presentation, it is literally 100 times better because I got so much feedback. But most people aren't willing to do that because they're not willing to want that criticism. They're not open to it. So my ask for you is to go to the extreme, because remember, extreme people get extreme results. So if you want to be in the top 1% of speakers,
Wow.
you need to do what only the 1% is willing to do, which is asking 25 people for feedback.
Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. This is something I will have to incorporate. Asking 25 people, usually it's just a matter of going and presenting there, but not getting an immediate feedback. That's a very, very good tip on that one. For those who are already doing this, how can they speed their growth, in your opinion?
Yeah, so building on the video tip, what I recommend is make sure you have a clear set of outlines for the people who are giving you feedback.
Right.
So what I do with my tribe is I tell them to give me time-stamped feedback. It's not general stuff. So they would say something like, "Hey, Brenden, go to 8 minutes, 21 seconds. What you said there doesn't make any sense. Change it. Hey, Brenden, at 16 minutes, 27 seconds, you said something with very, very high vocal tones. You looked really happy, but you were talking about a car accident. You should sound a bit more sad." That
Right.
kind of specific advice that you forced your tribe to give you will really speed up your growth as someone who's speaking. The second thing is this is why repetition is excellence, right? Because if you're going through that same time-stamped feedback with the same presentation over and over again, I can almost guarantee that at the 10th time that you've done this presentation, you won't even recognize it anymore. You'll be so good as a speaker that you will be completely so shocked yourself.
Wow, outstanding. Outstanding. Thank you. And for those who are looking to really, who say, "Look, Brenden, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, but I just know that on my own I cannot do this. I need somebody like yourself to help me." Where can they get help? Maybe your website, maybe your YouTube. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, Yeukai. So let's kind of explain this through different levels.
Yes.
So the first level is someone who's getting started, someone who's just scared of public speaking, someone who's not sure of their public speaking wise, someone who doesn't have clarity. For those types of people, what I would recommend is to join a community of accountability that's not expensive. So something like Toastmasters is a great organization because it's not very expensive. It's probably like $70 for 6 months, but you get access to a community of people who want to master presentations, who want to work on their communication skills. And in that group, what you can do is you can use a lot of the free videos that I have to make everybody in the group better. Because remember, public speaking is not meant to be a lonely exercise.
Right.
It's something that we work on together. Me and you work together. We both become exceptional speakers. The world becomes a better place. But then, if you really want to speed up your growth beyond that, then I would highly recommend a speech coach, specifically for somebody who wants the result in the next 3 months and who's someone who has a high reason for mastering public speaking. So I'll give you an example. A lot of the people I work with one-on-one are CEOs of companies, mostly because the money that they spend investing in a speech coach, which can range to thousands of dollars, makes sense for them, because if I can increase their conversion rate by 10%, they're going to make the money back that they invested with me in like 2 days, right?
Absolutely.
So what I would say is, don't start by hiring a speech coach. And I'm being honest, watch my free videos, get started with Toastmasters. But if one day you do get really clear about public speaking and you understand why you want to be a speaker, why you want to share your message with the world, then get a speech coach like me.
Outstanding. What I love about that is, you are showing people that they can get started right where they are. There is no excuse like, I'll wait until I have a certain amount of money. You can get started right where you are and begin to see the results. Sometimes I find that when you have a small result, your belief in yourself goes up, and that pushes you to go even further and further and further as well. Is there anything else here, Brenden, that you would like to share with our audience that I've not asked you about at this point?
Absolutely. I think what you said there was really beautifully articulated, in the sense that there is no excuse. And I was really fortunate in my life that I grew up in an age where a lot of very generous people like yourself, Yeukai, even despite their business success, still says, I want to share some free information for the people who just don't have any money in their pocket. And when I thought about MasterTalk and public speaking, I knew I was going to have a successful business whether or not I put up videos. But I mostly did the videos because it gives people an opportunity to not make any excuses to practice. Because now you literally have free content that I charge clients thousands of dollars for one-on-one, that you get absolutely for free. So back to what you were saying, don't make excuses. Go to Toastmasters if you don't have any money. Use the videos if you don't even have $70, and start working on communication, because it is a high income skill and it will help you make money in the future.
Absolutely. Somebody once said to me that the people who communicate well are some of the highest paid individuals in the world. Than if you have to compare it with any other technical skill. And this is available to anyone. You can get started with that. And more so for business owners. There's so many businesses, but the business that gets ahead are those that are represented by somebody communicating their ideas, their products to the public or to the customer, so to speak. So it's worth investing in. Incredible.
Absolutely, completely agreed.
Yes. Talk to us about the YouTube right now, where people can find it.
Of course. So like I said, I'm not as famous as Yeukai over here, who's been doing the show for a couple of years. So feel free to message me on Instagram if you have any questions. I'm at Master Your Talk. And if you're interested in free communication tips as well, you can check out my YouTube channel, which is MasterTalk in one name.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Final thoughts to the business owners right now facing what seemingly an incredible difficult time with COVID here. What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, so my final thoughts are, as I get it, in the sense of, I've lost a lot of money in my own business because a lot of my speaking engagements got canceled. But the business owners that ask themselves the following question: how can I pivot? How can I still create value for my customers despite these difficult times, are the ones that will win. I had two choices, Yeukai. I could have just rolled up in my bed and said, I'm going to wait 12 months for speaking engagements to start again. Or I could say, what can I do with this time? Because that time I'm never going to get back. Maybe I can do virtual speaking engagements. Maybe I can get on a podcast. Maybe I can make more content, more videos. The people who win are the people who continue to innovate despite how difficult the circumstances are. So I hope all of you continue to do that and keep pushing, because your clients need you.
Wow, incredible. Absolutely incredible. The people that innovate are the people that gets ahead in life. That's so true. Absolutely true. Well, thanks again, Brenden, for being with us on the show here. And there you have it, guys. If you are looking to improve your public speaking, you know where to go to or who to reach out to.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukai.businessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com, quote WOS18, or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.